What's up, guys? We're gonna brobeatz. Today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make some dark samples from scratch. If you guys haven't subbed already or turned post noise on, make sure you do so because it helps out a lot. Let's hop right into it. So the first things first is our BPM. So I suggest using a slower BPM. So like halftime, I'm using 76. It's just the one I landed on. So anything below 100. And the reason for this is because the grid we're gonna use, we don't want it to be too fast. Or even if you're using a regular 1/4 beat grid or whatever, it's gonna be too fast. And that's a big problem that people have. So we're gonna be using half speed for this one. And let's just grab in the scale real quick. You already know we're gonna be using a harmonic minor. And we just change the key to, let's just go one down. All right, something different. And yeah, so the first one we're gonna do is our guitar, just like the main melody. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on that. All right, so let's go ahead and do the guitar. Now, if this is your first time, I would suggest, or highly suggest, going at a slower BPM, because the faster you go, the more difficult it's gonna be to kind of place the notes. So slower BPM might be a little bit easier. So let's go in here, and the first thing we need to do is change the snap to grid, change it to 1/3 beat. All right, now you could do, do some higher, but I think 1/3 beat is a lot easier and it'll make it a lot easier to create the melody. All right, just zoom this in real quick. So let's just start on the bass line, simple as that. Probably start up here first. I want to make sure everything is large enough so you can see. All right, simple as that. And how I just built this is just made a chord backwards. So, right, as you can see. From here, let's copy it up. What did I press? Control A and then Control up. Okay. Make sure everything is in frame. All right, so now from here, what we do is we use the grid. So you can see how it's snapping to the 1/3. All we gotta do, I'm gonna pull this back a little bit. I'm gonna pull this one back. So from here, you can just literally build the chord and just offset everything if you want to. And then since this is the harmonic minor, some notes will sound terrible in relation to like the notes you have down already. So you will have to adjust it, but the same thing is pretty much the same throughout. You just make a chord on up. Okay. But like I said, some notes may not sound good, so you got to change it. So I'm gonna just test this one out. All right, so you can see you got to make that decision, like what note you like. So I'm gonna keep that one. All right, and let's move on to the next one. Same thing. Okay, so that's pretty much our melody right here. So now the next thing we need to do, let me turn it off, is create like a different area, because this is a really short melody, right? Even though it's in halftime. Let's copy it over, and I might speed this up a little bit, but basically what I'm gonna do is change the way this is played up. So if you see this little arrow, what I like to do is just drag it in. You can see it highlighted right now. Just drag it in a bit. And the very last note that's playing, I put it maybe like right here. And then you can kind of just strum these however you would want. And let's actually pull this up to the next G. So I will highlight this and pull this up an octave. And let's see how that sounds. And obviously we gotta pull that velocity. And then pretty much just do the same thing for this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this for this one just to save a little bit of time. All right, so here's a full melody with a guitar. I'm gonna pull this down an octave. Now I think some of those notes might be lost because we get into those, like I think these two are key switches, but we'll just see how it sounds. So I might actually keep that in because it just gives it a little bit more character, but I don't know, I might. We'll just leave it. All right, so that is the pretty much the full melody. So now let's move on to the flute. I believe it's the flute. All right, so now we're gonna do the flute. Now this is the plugin I'm using. Any flute works. This is just, I just like using other, different plugins. So don't get so caught up in, oh, he's using this. It doesn't really matter. It's, you can use the flute from whatever. All right. So let's go in here, and with this flute, I'm gonna do 1/4. Now especially with this harmonic minor, what I like to do is like the rainbow melody. So like, actually I gotta find. All right, so we'll start like right here. Pretty much just follow that type of thing when I do these. Now you can also just go straight down. I'm gonna actually do that. I'm gonna actually just demonstrate that. So let me see. I think we could start right here. Then maybe. Now with these flutes, you gotta kind of offset it a little bit, as you can see, because sometimes it just doesn't work the way you want it to, or the way you hear it in your head. So let's see. Let's add something right here. Let's go right back to that root. And I'm going slow on purpose. I don't want the video to be super long, but I'm just trying to, so you can see like every single thing that I'm doing and like the thought process. Okay, so now let's go over here and we can start from the roots and end at the root. So I might actually do a thirds grid for this one. Actually, it was actually pretty spot on. Make sure I zoom in. Okay, and then in between, we could try this. Okay, I'm pretty content with that. So now let's move on to the harp, and that'll be like the last one before the bass, which is, you know, super easy. All right, so now we got the harp, and with these melodies, I think a harp is necessary, or a sound like it. All right, so this one's pretty easy. It's the same as a flute, except, well, actually it's not really that much different. It's the same. I just kind of do a rainbow style, except you could do like a little chop. So I'm gonna go a little higher and show you. Let me see. And I don't know if I want to do this in the thirds. Let's do a chop. And then with this chop, what we got to do is right click, hold up, and then we can. Okay. Now the key to this, to making it sound believable, is you got to switch back to the thirds. You got to kind of play around with the velocity a bit. See? Right, and these are things you can do to make it sound good every time, right? You don't have to go out, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be the best melody in the entire world. All right, like you could do this every time, right? And just do some things in between. Right? And then we can play with the velocity, maybe build up into it, build down. And let's take this on this side. All right, simple as that. So that is the harp. Now we're gonna move on to the bass, which is pretty much the easiest part of this. All right, so here's the last part. So all we got to do is go to our original melody and, you know, just copy the bass. Actually, just copy all this. All right, and if you want to do other things, just because I'm just doing this to save time for the video. But if you want to go in and manipulate the bass, like the melodies and everything, you can. But I'll just play the whole thing all together. All right, so it's pretty much the melody, and I had, you know, popped up the presets so y'all could see the presets and everything. But just remember those two tips. The BPM, a slower BPM will fit these type of melodies a lot better, and it'll just be a lot easier to make them. Obviously you can do whatever you want, but if you're a beginner and you're not really experienced with this, kind of just stick to these settings, and then the 1/3 grid right here, 1/3 beat, and make things a lot easier for you. And then when you get comfortable, you can kind of experiment and do other stuff. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully this helped out. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.